Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Yam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Astotra Satasi Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Śrīla Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki. Granthara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. Shri Mayapur Dhama ki. Gaura-Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Shaksurum Militan Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitan Yena Bhutale Swayan Rupa Kadamahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Opesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to Bhagavatam class. We are reading from the first canto, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter 6, text number 38. Conversation between Narada and Vyas. Aho devarshir dhanyo yam. Aho devarshir dhanyo yam. Yad kirtim sangadan vana. Yad kirtim sangadan vana. Gayam madhyam idam tantriyam. Gayam madhyam idam tantriyam. Ramayati aturam jagat. Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho devarshirthanyo yam yad kirtim sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho devarshirthanyo yam yad kirtin sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Bolo. Aho devashirdanyo yam yat kirtin sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho devashirdanyo yam yat kirtin sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho devashirthanyo yam yat kirtim sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Ladies. Aho devashirthanyo yam Siddhanyo yam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho devashirthanyo yam yat kirtin sangadam vanam gayam madhyam idam tantrya Ramayati-aturam jagat. Aho, all glory to Devarshihi, the sage of the gods. Dhanya, all success. Ayam yat, one who. Kirtim, glories. Sangadambana, of the personality of Godhead. Gayan, singing. Madhyam, taking pleasure in. Idam, this. Tantrya, by means of the instrument. Ramayati, enlivens. Aturam, distress. Jagat, world. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. All glory and success to Śrīla Nārada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the Personality of Godhead, and so doing he himself takes pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. Please repeat. All glory and success to Śrīla Nārada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the Personality of Godhead, And so doing, he himself takes pleasure. And also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. Purport. Śrīla Nārada Muni plays on his instrument to glorify the transcendental activities of the Lord and to give relief to all miserable living entities of the universe. No one is happy here within the universe, and what is felt as happiness is Maya's illusion. The illusory energy of the Lord is so strong that even the hog who lives on a filthy stool feels happy. No one can be truly happy within the material world. Śrīla Nārada Muni, in order to enlighten the miserable inhabitants, wanders everywhere. His mission is to get them back home, back to Godhead. That is the mission of all genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of that great sage. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 6th chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Conversation between Narada and Vyasadeva. So this is a concluding verse of this chapter 6. And the sages at Naimisharanya, they have actually inquired about where did Vyasadeva got the inspiration to write the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, because he had already, compiled so many edited all the Vedic literatures. He had written the Mahabharata, the Vedanta Sutra, the Puranas. So where did he get the inspiration to do that? And in answering the question is related how Vyasadeva, he was feeling despondent, and Narada Muni appeared on the scene. And he preached to him about the importance of an atmosphere. Well, basically, first of all, he chastised him because in his writings he had not highlighted the potency and the importance of glorifying the pastimes of the Lord as the means for attaining perfection, as the means to bring ultimate success to all the living entities within the universe. He had given so many different paths. But actually, the main cure, or the most powerful thing, is to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. And in the association of the devotees. And then Narada Muni, to illustrate this principle, he is giving his own life as an example. And he described how he was the son of a maidservant. He had practically, wasn't coming from a good parentage. He didn't have a father. And just by being in the association of the Bhaktivedantas, in that atmosphere, which was filled with the transcendental sound vibration of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, of the sages, the atmosphere surcharged with devotion, his heart became completely transformed. And we're talking here, this is one of the success stories on the Bhagavatam. That no matter what material qualification you have, if we want to actually find ultimate happiness in our existence, then this is the solution. This is what the Bhagavatam is presenting. And if we want to attain, and what is the solution? Okay, it's obvious, right? The solution is to become absorbed in the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, to become absorbed in hearing and remembering about Krishna. This is what is going to fill the need of the soul. We may have so many needs, material needs, physical needs, emotional needs. But the ultimate need is the need of the soul. And that need is fulfilled by establishing a connection with the Supreme Lord. And that connection is established through transcendental sound vibration, by hearing about Him in the association of the devotees. And then, so now we conclude in this chapter now. Now the next chapter, by the way, following verses are very, very important. So make sure you don't miss the next few classes, because the whole Bhagavatam is now going to be, now Vyasadeva is going to actually sit down on meditation, because you see, Narada Muni is telling his story to inspire Vyasadeva to write the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He instructed Vyasadeva to meditate on the pastimes of the Lord and put them in writing. And now what follows this verse is going to be Vyasadeva's meditation. And that meditation is the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So the whole Bhagavatam expands from those verses that are coming out. He's going to have a vision. But the point here on this verse is that, this is the result, what Narada Muni attained by hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in the association of the devotees. He became an eternal associate of the Lord. He became completely free to travel and wander all over the universe. And like is explained here, he himself taking pleasure, doing what? Enlivening all the souls of the universe. So that's the perfection that actually when we do experience the joy and happiness of Krishna consciousness, which is something much higher than anything else can be experienced in the material world. And I'm not just talking about, like some glimpses, but actually factual, deep realization of Krishna consciousness, like Narada Muni had. Then naturally he wants to distribute it all over the world. And he takes great pleasure in doing so. So now the thing is that if we want to attain to that stage, if we want to attain the same success as Narada Muni did, then we need to learn what are the lessons that, from his life. We have been hearing a lot about his life. So what were some of those points that came across during his life? So, one thing is that, and I remember last time I was in class, there was a point here, that point was coming, that the confidential devotees of the Lord, they see a benedictory action in everything, a benedictory action by the Lord in anything that happens to them. So this is, and Prabhupada explains that this is like the secret of success. And how do we get the actual understanding? Because like devotees like Narada Muni, they understand that nothing can take place without the sanction of the Lord. Everything is controlled by the Lord. So therefore the devotee, he is fearless in every situation. So that's a very, very important, significant point. And that realization came across by hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam in the association of the devotees. So the importance of hearing to remove the illusion. What is the illusion? The illusion is to think that we are the controllers. That's the first illusion. I mean, I don't know if it's the first one, but it's the main illusion, that we are the controllers. And that, think that things are happening automatically. So, therefore, and we need to be constantly reminded of this, that we are not in control. Krishna is in control. And when we come to that platform of understanding that Krishna is in control, then we can become fearless in every situation if we take shelter of Him. What is that verse? Narayana para sarve nakkutaschana vivyati swarga pavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshana. He says that the devotee, he doesn't fear any condition of life. He may go to heaven, he may go to hell. Wherever the Lord sends him, he's completely satisfied. Because he has only one focus now. And what is that focus? Is to serve the Lord. Coming to that resolution. That the purpose of the purpose of my existence is to serve the Lord. That's like the fundamentals of Krishna consciousness. The best thing I can do with my life is to act for the pleasure of the Lord. I may have so many material duties, but the actual goal is not the fulfillment of those material duties. What is the actual goal? It's to reestablish my connection with the Lord and go back home, back to Godhead, once and for all. Put an end to the miserable conditions of material existence. That should be that should be our, like the foundation of everything we do. Narada Muni got that determination. So when his mother passed away at 5 years, he was only 5 years old, very, very traumatic situation. He didn't complain. He saw that as as an impetus for pursuing his Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada explains, I'm sure this point has been made so many times, but it's such an important point. This is the secret of success. Because we are all facing challenges in life. So whatever challenge we have to see how that is helping me in my Krishna consciousness. Rather than trying to kind of fix it in some, material way or complain about it. Oh, it's so unfavorable for me, I cannot make it, this, that. No complaints. How this is helping me in my Krishna consciousness. And then, like it's explained, that Narada Muni, then he went on with that determination, that eagerness to attain Krishna consciousness. Again, how did he get that? By the association of the devotees. So if we don't have that eagerness ourselves, how do we get it? We need to seek the association of advanced devotees. We need to hear from the devotees. We need to hear from Prabhupada to get that conviction. And that conviction is what is Prabhupada explaining in this purport. This is very revolutionary. We have, for us, may not be revolutionary, but now because we heard it before. But if you hear this for the first time, how revolutionary is this? I'll read it. No one is happy here within the universe. And what is felt as happiness is Maya's illusion. Do you hear this from anybody else apart from Prabhupada or Prabhupada's followers? But it's hitting the nail on the head, as they said. And why? Okay, why? Now, the illusory of the Lord is so strong that even the hog who lives on filthy stool feels happy. No one can be truly happy within the material world. How? How no one can be truly happy in the material world? Have we actually realized it? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that this is perhaps one of the most important steps that anyone can take in his spiritual journey. Come to that understanding. No material situation will make me happy. No material situation. No matter what I do in the material world. Wandering from, all the different 14 planetary systems, 8,400,000 species of life. No material situation is going to make me happy. Doesn't mean that we become chronically depressed, right? That's not what it means. But what it means is that we don't belong to this place. The soul is looking for three things. Guess what they are? What is the three things that the jiva, the soul, is looking for in the material world? Ananda? Relief. Ananda, relief, yeah? And knowledge and immortality. Satchit Ananda. That's what the soul is looking for. Deprived from this, cannot be happy in any situation in the material world. No matter how successful they become, how much money you have in your bank account, how good your relationships are, it will all come to an end. It will all come to an end. And as we grow older, we see how time is moving so fast. It's incredible. So, life purpose is not about creating an impermanent situation. We try to create a permanent situation in the material world, but we'll be kicked out. At one point, everybody's going to get kicked out, and then you don't know what's happening next, right? But then the thing is also, by constitution, we cannot be completely satisfied in material life. You can have a good life. Needless to say, there are different standards of life. We can be in the heavenly planets, like Prabhupada call it, like first-class prisoners, still in jail, still no experiencing the freedom of the soul. So, and what is that freedom? Because we need to understand that, what keeps us bound to this material existence is the sense of false ego, is that sense that I can control, I can enjoy. And as far as we maintain that kind of consciousness, then what happens is that we have to be placed into illusion in a situation like, the material world. With threefold miseries, with a mind that is not cooperating with us most of the time, with other living entities who are also trying to compete to do the same. We are so constrained in many ways. But the previous verse to this verse, it was explaining how Narada Muni, he is fully free. He has actual freedom. It's a nice point to meditate upon. Sometimes we think that we're going to get financial freedom. Okay? I wish I would have financial freedom so I can focus on Krishna consciousness fully. Yeah? We all have, many of us, we have the aspiration, financial freedom. But actually the real freedom is when we become completely, we take complete shelter of the Lord. That's the real freedom. Narayana Parayana. And that the person, that devotee, he has he is free because he has no aspirations. Krishna Bhakta, Nishkama, Ataeva Shanta, Bhukti Mukti Siddhikami, Sakale Ashanta. That, all the materialists, the jnanis, the yogis, they cannot have any peace. Why they cannot have any peace? Because they all have desires they are trying to fulfill. And that's the glue. That's what keeps us bound. Krishna Bhakta Nishkama. He has no material desires. His desires are completely aligned with the desire of the Lord. So when the desires are completely aligned with the desires of the Lord, we can experience full freedom, full happiness in any condition of life. It's no longer depending on the externals. It's no longer depending on others. We are getting that full inner fulfillment through that relationship with Krishna. So Narada Muni, he has understood this. Because we're saying it, but to live by these principles, that's the real challenge. To embrace these principles in our lives. But Narada Muni has understood that, and because he has understood that, therefore, he is preaching this message. He said, and what is his, and Prabhupada, this is another point from the purport, it's a short purport, but it's wonderful, like all of Prabhupada's writings. He says that his mission is to get them back home, back to Godhead. That is the mission of all genuine devotees of the Lord, following the footsteps of that great sage. So what is our mission? Our mission is not to make people's lives better here. That's a byproduct. Our message is, we don't belong here. We have an eternal relationship with God. Let's go back home, back to Godhead. And how do we attain that? Through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Don't waste time in material existence. And now, this is the beginning. It's so nice to hear about the background of Narada Muni. Is it not? Because he is one of our gurus. He will be preaching in the Bhagavatam so many important personalities. He is already preaching here to Vyasadeva to write the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So we get that inspiration, that understanding about what is the actual goal and what is the actual reality. What is the reality and what is the illusion? So later on he will be preaching to whom? Who will be Narada Muni? Who will be preaching to in Bhagavatam? Who are some of his disciples? Dhruva Maharaj, right? Dhruva Maharaj had huge desire, material desire. But Narada Muni was able to purify him. Who else? Prahlad Maharaj, right? Who else? Chitraketu, Yudhishthir, Prachetas, the Haryasvas and the Savalasvas, right? And this is interesting in connection with Daksha, right? That Daksha was trying to, populate the entire universe, and he first of all he conceived 10,000 children, and they were like the Saryasvas. And then Narada Muni came, and what did he preach to them? Kim asat karmavir bhavet. He is preaching to them. Every verse is finishing with this line: Kim asat karmavir bhavet. He says, what is the use of engaging in any material activities? It's very heavy preaching. I mean, what we hear also, heavy for those who are materially attached, of course. It's very enlivening. It wakes us up. What is the use of engaging in it? And why? And this is also what the first thing that Narada Muni told to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was despondent because he felt dissatisfied after having written all the Vedas, acting for the welfare of everyone. He was himself self-realized, still was feeling dissatisfied. And what was the first thing that Narada Muni told him? He said, can you be satisfied by identifying with the body and the mind, my dear Prabhu? Can you be satisfied? So we cannot be satisfied. We can only become satisfied when we come to the spiritual platform. That's the only way to become satisfied. Material life may bring some temporary happiness, but the real happiness is experienced on the platform of the soul. And we can only really actually access that by practical experience through the process of devotional service. It's not some, all this kind of new age stuff about, feeling spiritual and this and that. No, factual realization will take place when we do engage in practical service, which begins by hearing. And this applies to us. We have to keep ourselves in touch with this transcendental sound vibration. Because when we hear other sound vibration, another different result takes place. And material sound vibration is there everywhere, even in the Bhagavatam class. Phone rings. So, the point is that Maya is there all the time. Is all the time. And she doesn't come and says to us, okay, Prabhu or Mataji, I'm coming, I'm gonna get you. Watch out, I'm gonna count 3, 2, and I'm gonna get you. She doesn't come like that. She's got you by the neck and you haven't even noticed. They said that no one knows the taste of poison. Because so it's the same with Maya creeps in. Maya creeps in. But how do we know that Maya is crept in? There are so many criteria, so many parameters there in the scriptures, right? But the one thing, if we're not hearing and chanting, that Maya is there. If we're not regularly absorbing our minds in coming to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam class, reading Srila Prabhupada's books, chanting attentive rounds in the morning, associating with the devotees, the Maya is already there. We may claim to be good devotees, but because it's just the nature. And how we another criteria, if we become very critical of devotees, we just start to we begin to see only faults in others. We know it better. Symptom, Maya is crept in. We didn't even notice. That's the nature of illusion. But here we have the example of Narada Muni. Free from illusion. Totally free from illusion. And now, what does a person who is free from illusion do? He is fully dedicated to the mission of the Lord. He has no other purpose, no other business. And what is the mission of the Lord? To reclaim the souls back home, back to Godhead. That's his purpose. Nothing else. What a such platform. How do we get there? By following in his footsteps. And why he has that desire? You see, if you study the Bhagavatam in depth, you'll find that the quality of the devotee is that he is paradukkha dukhi. He is unhappy when others are unhappy. He has developed that compassion within his heart. Now, that compassion can only be owned when we do also experience the actual solution. When we experience the joy of Krishna consciousness, the relief, then you can actually appreciate how other people are suffering. But if we don't have that taste for Krishna consciousness, then we just be like everybody else. And then, how can we help them? So it is a challenge for ourselves and for others. I mean, it's a challenge that we have to be in Krishna consciousness for our own welfare and for the welfare of others. So the example is given here of what is the potency of an atmosphere surcharged with devotion. And that was Narada Muni being in the association of the Bhaktivedantas, attaining perfection, becoming an immortal sage, free to travel all over the universe. Do we want that? We would like to become a transcendental soul, traveling free throughout the universe, just enlightening people, carefree. Can you imagine what level of satisfaction to have that the Lord comes to you and offers you any benediction, and you say, I don't want anything, my Lord. I'm happy. I just want your service. Well, I'll give you, you can go, I'll give you a nice house. I'll give you a son, a PhD, and a cottage by the sea. No, heaven, I can send you to heaven. I don't want anything. That's the test of Krishna consciousness. No more hankering, no more lamenting. That's the ultimate solution. So the prize to get that is to really want to become a devotee. What the transformation that takes place through hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the purification of our desire. I want you, Krishna, and Krishna is fulfilling the desires of everyone since time immemorial. So we change our desire by changing what we hear about. So we hear about mundane stuff, we have mundane desires. We hear about transcendental pastimes of the Lord, we hear about Krishna, we develop spiritual desires. We develop spiritual desires, we attain the right destination. Hare Krishna, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Granta Raj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Any questions or comments? Yes, Mati. I think there may be a mic for the people who online. Is there another mic there? Is there a mic there? No? Okay, I'll repeat. Yeah.
So in devotion, if I experience happiness, will it have a tinge of illusion, or how do I differentiate?
It can be.
How do I find it out? Means can it be all the time illusionary, or it can be happiness, real happiness, or?
Well, I guess, with maturity in Krishna consciousness, you begin to see actually what is happiness, the actual happiness. Happiness which is, in Krishna consciousness is related to the Lord. Krishna is in the center. But if I'm in the center and I'm experiencing happiness because, I got a lot of paneer on the subject this morning, how merciful Krishna is, I'm very happy. That may just be some, mundane, appreciation. Or the Lord wants me to, is fulfilling my desires, Lord, Krishna is so kind. But when He doesn't fulfill my desires, I'm still happy.
So
because if you are able to stay happy even when Krishna is not fulfilling your so-called desires, that's actual happiness in Krishna consciousness. It's deeper. So for example, we can give the example of His Holiness Bhakti-Tirtha Maharaj. When he was leaving this world, he was in a lot of pain because he had cancer. his body was emaciated. And Radhanath Maharaj asked him, how are you? And he said, it cannot get any better than this. That's happiness in Krishna consciousness. It's beyond the body, it's beyond the mind. Prabhupada himself, when he was leaving this world, he was translating the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. From the material perspective, he was in a very pleasant situation, but he was able to tolerate all the pain of his body without any type of treatment or anything. The doctors were amazed, and it was still, his mind was fixed. So happiness, spiritual happiness comes when, by fixing our minds on Krishna. It doesn't have to be that you have to be very advanced. I'll give my own personal example, okay? I remember the first time I went to Bhaktivedanta Manor, they put me to wash plates, like it's standard thing for many devotees, right? And I wasn't a devotee there, I was just like some guy coming. I wasn't chanting, I was chanting when I was there. And I remember it was like at that time the kitchen had small windows and it was very dark. And I'm the kind of person, I need light to be happy, in dark I dry up. So I remember I was there and we're washing pots. And the pots are, going down because we're finishing them, almost finished. Then a whole lot of more pots come, And it was like no end. I remember there was another devotee there and he was really getting frustrated. He actually got upset at one. He was frightened. Something was going on in his mind. Some devotee came to preach to him. But anyway, I remember I was there and I was thinking, gosh, I've never been so happy in my whole life. And what am I doing here? Just washing pots in a dark kitchen. And I've never been so happy. And I was thinking, if I'm so happy just washing pots, never mind when I, go and preach and, chant and dance and, And not later, another time I remember I was doing book distribution. It was maybe the third time I went out on book distribution. And I was in the UK. Anyone here from the UK? Okay. So I was in a place near Preston called, I forgot now the name of it. One of these small towns. Burnley, I know. Anyway, it was small town. Market town, And I was holding my collecting can and I had a bag with books, so everybody put some coin, I will give them a book. And then it started to snow. So there it was snowing, the whole place was empty, Just empty, freezing cold, and he's holding a can there in the middle of the snow, And I was thinking, gosh, anyone who will see me will think, this guy is nuts, what is he doing here, And I was thinking, I've never been so happy in my whole life. Krishna was reciprocating. So the point I'm making, you don't have to be like an exalted soul. It comes from Krishna's reciprocation. Bhakti parisanvavo viraktir. Anyatra, by engaging in devotional service, one gets direct perception of the Lord. Just like when one eats, he gets nourishment, he gets satisfaction and freedom from hunger. When we engage in devotional service, we gain realization from the Lord, we gain satisfaction, and we gain detachment. That's the happiness in Krishna consciousness. How detached I am becoming from material life. But if I'm becoming more attached to material life, that's not happiness in Krishna consciousness. I have congregation people, sometimes they come to me and, oh, Krishna is so kind to me, I got a new client or something. He's so favorable to me. But actually that's not Krishna, just not the mode of nature. Maybe it's Krishna, maybe he is, maybe he isn't, but that's not the criteria. Because Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die in 7 days. Was that Krishna's mercy? For sure it was. Narada Muni, his mother died. That was also Krishna's mercy. So I don't know if I answered the question. Is that okay? So happiness in Krishna consciousness is coming from the personal reciprocation of the Lord, not from Him fulfilling our desires. He may be fulfilling the desires also as a reciprocation for our advancement in Krishna consciousness. so that I can serve him better.
Like happiness in material world is also temporary, as well as what we experience is also kind of temporary.
Yeah.
So will it get constant later?
Nice. Thank you. That's another angle, and that's what Rupa Goswami explains in the Bhakti-rasamrita Sindhu, that Chapala Sukha, that happiness, material happiness, is temporary and is flickering. And Bhoga Tyaga, you enjoy something for some time, and then you give it up. And then, because the senses by material enjoyment, our ability to experience material enjoyment is limited, whilst happiness in Krishna consciousness is eternal. And it brings another type of taste. We all are here because we have tasted that, right? It's something different. And when we preach to people, we want to give them the opportunity to taste that. Because nothing is going to be more convincing than that. We can explain so much about philosophy, but when we get that experience, like I said, washing pots, that convinced me. I started to chant 16 rounds after that. I want more of this. Nothing behind. Okay, it's 9 o'clock, class is over now. Thank you very much for being here. If you want to stay for the questions and answers, but if you need to go, that's fine. She's having a question.
Hare Krishna. So generally in ISKCON we see when people give classes or when they preach, they say, Dukkalayam Ashashvatam, the world is a sad place, you're suffering.
Yeah.
And when newcomers come, I feel it's very sad. They're just coming to the temple and they hear, this is a sad place. They say when you attach to Krishna, you automatically detach from Maya. So shouldn't the perspective be more of a happy place? You come to the temple, it's happy, and it's not, as soon as they come, it's not about you're suffering, you're not this body, this is a sad place, it's only full of sufferings and worries.
It's only a sad place if you are in forgetfulness of Krishna. Vismam Purnam Sukhayate. This says that the body is happiness everywhere. So you see, people who come, it's not necessarily you have to give them the same medicine to everybody or the same preaching. Like for example, I'm told by the devotees living in Norway and places like this that this type of preaching of the material world is a miserable place, it doesn't resonate with them because they have a good life. You cannot have that approach. You have to take a different approach. So it's not that's our only preaching technique. Narada Muni is going to be using so many different preaching techniques at different times, places, and circumstances. Like with as with this Saryasvas, and he was very heavy. Don't engage in family life. Give it up. Forget it. You are too advanced for this. With other people, he will preach in a different way. So that. The point is that still the truth is the truth. No matter how good life is, it's temporary. So we're looking for a permanent place, and we all have some kind of lacking. Everybody has some lacking. There is a feeling of alienation. We feel like incomplete, and we try to fill that gap in so many different ways. But that gap is only filled on the spiritual platform. Doesn't mean you can still have a good life. The Pandavas, they suffer so much, but they were kings, they were emperors. You don't have to be poverty-stricken to be a devotee. You don't have to be materially destitute. But you have to have your focus clear, like that. Thank you so much. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Granta Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande.